right, it's 5:30, so we'll call to order the regular school board meeting of the Madison Central School District. It is Monday, May 13th. Mr. Brooks will record the members present or absent, and we do have a quorum. So next I'd invite everyone to please stand and we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And item number 5 is approval of the agenda, and I believe we have no modifications, so at this point in time, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Okay, Mrs. Schultz has it. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Hanemichael. Questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approval of the agenda as printed, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Declare it has passed. Item number 6 is approval of the consent agenda items. We have 2 sets of minutes, our regular board meeting on the 12th of April, and then we had a special board meeting on the 29th of April. Mrs. Sims, Mr. Hanemichael, Mrs. Schultz did the bills. Anything there out of the unusual we need to be aware of? Our financials are posted, and then personnel actions, turn that over to Mr. Jorgensen.
Deb Kraus, resignation retirement. I'd like to thank her. It's been 6 school years, I believe, that she's been with the district as custodian. She'll be retiring end of May here. Some hires, Cody Casella and Caitlin Engbrett, summer custodial at 9:10, and Austin Olson, some groundskeeping at 12:40. And all of these individuals worked those positions last year as well.
Oh, good. So again, congratulations to Deb and thanks for her service to us in that custodial position. So I'd entertain a motion on the consent items.
So moved.
So let's move by Mr. Hanemichael. Is there a second?
A second.
Okay, Mrs. Sims has a second. Further questions, comments, or discussion on the consent items? Hearing none, all in favor of approval of the consent items 7 through 9 on our agenda, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Declare that that has passed. I don't believe anybody wishes to address the group this evening, so on to administrators' reports.
On Friday, Dr. Cook had set it up. We had to move it because it was supposed to be the 25th anniversary. It was going to be held during one of our afternoons with the in-service. However, weather changed those plans, so it was Friday. He had some parents lined up. Other administrators were helping cover, but anyway, it was a nice celebration. A number of teachers were invited back who had worked in the building over the last 25 years, and they met with the teachers that we currently have, and it was a nice celebration. So, and then today, the Special Olympics torch run came through the middle school hallways. That was a neat experience. The kids were out there just like we have a send-off for a state event. They were out in the hallways as the torch came through, unlit this year, which was a good thing. We learned from a couple of years back that not have it lit. Graduation, just a reminder, it's coming up Sunday, May 19th at 2 p.m. in the auditorium, high school auditorium.
High school gym.
Or gym, excuse me, yeah. And then the end of the year for students will be May 29th with an early dismissal, 11:50. And then just let you know that on June 12th, law enforcement's going to be conducting a training exercise in the high school that evening, and I'll do a reminder in June. And then we'll send out a push notification just so people know that on June 12th in the evening, if they see all these cars here, it's for a reason. But instead of any sort, but they will be here going through a training exercise. And that's all I have.
Mr. Brooks, you have anything? I guess I would like to thank Mr. Jorgensen for making arrangements for the board to serve pizza to the middle school and high school on Thursday, and Cammie and Lori are going down on Friday for the elementary and things. We drew lots of good comments from the teachers and some good thanks. I think that was a very, very good idea to do that. So thanks, Mr. Jorgensen, for your assistance with that also, and Lori and Cammie too for making that happen. Anything else? Any other board members have things they want to report? If not, then on to item number 12, consider free meals, May 22nd to the 29th. Mr. Brooks.
So we did this towards the beginning of the school year, and what this is in our food service account, if our cash balance is getting higher, we risk then losing federal reimbursement in future years. And so this is one way we purchase our capital equipment as needed. This is one way to then not charge the families who are paying, and that's where our balance goes up. So we're looking at these 5 days at the end. The total would be about $11,500 on it. And so it'd be what we would have charged to families for that. One thing we were asking, maybe additional, we have 5 to 7 staff members per day that eat is our average. And we thought if we offered it maybe to the adult meal free, that's parents and staff members, we would maybe have more staff members that would come in and just be familiar with our item, and then as parents come in. And that'd be estimated, between $200 to $600, depending on how many do come in those last few days. We don't have to do the adult meal, but that was just, that's a way of thinking, maybe we can get more people in to look at it. So it's just.
I think after they're surprised how good the pizzas were, then they want to take advantage of that also. Yeah. Further questions or discussion, or should we have a motion and have some discussion maybe? Considering the free meals, 22nd to the 29th of May, get a motion on that?
So moved.
Mr. Hanemichael, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Schultz. Further discussion? I like the idea of the adult meals maybe. I think that could be considered, some good marketing for us and even some goodwill also for those staff.
Yes.
Do we exclude the superintendent and the business manager though from? No.
We are part of the 5 that eat every day.
No, I think it'd be a good idea to do that. And again, rewards those folks who have been with us for the lunch program. And remember, our prices, really, we don't have an opportunity to set those. We have to, it appears like we do, but there's guidelines that we have to follow. And so this is one way that we could give back to those patrons who participate in the lunch program. Further questions or discussion? All in favor of the free meal program for the 22nd to the 29th of May, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Declare that has passed. Preliminary budget. 15 minutes or less, Mitch.
This will be quick. It's next month, that takes a little while. If you don't mind bringing it up, I'll just quick show. So preliminary budget, it's still very early. We'll get lots of numbers. I'll change, and if you remember from year to year, they do change quite a bit. But the key things kind of look at when we see the budget as a whole, and that's good right there. For the funds go vertically, so you can see each fund stays within there. We have what was adopted this year and what's preliminary for next year. You can see the differences between those. So it's kind of key to know what the differences are between the funds. And then this top, I always put in the very top, fund balance use. What's a projected amount of fund balance use? So if it's a positive number, we're using the funds. If it's a negative number, like in capital, which would be put towards our early payments of debt, it'd be a negative number. And those will actually change over this next month as we go through our committee meetings, kind of go through capital LA and then our finance committee, and then set. But here's kind of where things are kind of looking in the broad spectrum right now. And at the budget hearing, then we go into quite a bit more detail on what's behind all the numbers. So it's mostly just an overview of now.
And we also, as a part of this, set our budget hearing date and time, is that correct?
Correct, yeah. And we usually go at 5:45. Yeah. Yes, we usually start the meeting at 5:45, pause, do a budget hearing. If you want to do that same thing again.
That seems to have worked well in the past. So that would be our June meeting then?
Yeah, for June 10th.
Okay, so then the motion would be to acknowledge or approve what?
With the preliminary, we don't have to worry about it, just set the budget hearing.
Okay, so the motion would be then to set the budget hearing for 5:45, and that would be on June 10th,
June 10th, yeah.
okay?
So moved.
Mrs. Schultz has the motion, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Mrs. Sims, Further questions, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of setting the budget hearing for June 10th at 5:45 PM, signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Declare that has passed. On to item number 14 then, special education staff summer hours. Ms. Kingery, you want to talk on those? or-
It's our extended school year, a requirement for students who, students do have to qualify for the program. They show regression, they're learning a new skill, they want to be able to continue it or to maintain a skill that they've been taught and worried that maybe they would lose that. That's what we're doing. This week, sometimes we do it 8 weeks for a few of our students who have more significant needs. This year, we're doing it 7 because our year is going a little longer. So, and birth to 3 services go year round, so we will continue providing services for, we have 2 students right now that we provide birth to 3 services for, but we get referrals over the summer. They come in all year, those birth to 3 services. And we have some students who are out going to be working in our community for BSY this year.
Okay, so this would be the recommendation that we approve those staff summer hours. Is there a motion to that effect? Mr. Hanemichael has the motion. Is there a second? Second by Mrs. Sims. Further questions, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approval of special education staff summer hours signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Declare it as a pass. Our insurance committee met last week, and Mr. Jorgens and Mr. Brooks, who's going to take that one?
I'll let Mr. Brooks start. We'll tag team as we go along here, but it was a good meeting.
Yeah, we've had a very healthy year with our insurance. So our committee met, and the recommendation is to take up individual plans, $5 per month, +1 plans, which is spouse or child, $10 a month, and then family plans, $15 a month. And then the district contribution through negotiation is $5 a month, so there'd be, in essence, no out-of-pocket increase for an individual. It'd be $5 for +1 and 10 for a family. The other changes to it, there really isn't much this year. The general office copay, to take it down from $50 to $35. That's, we have a healthy year, that way it's something that the user will see as they use the plan. And then our mail order prescriptions, to take the copays down $5 on those, we see a pretty good savings on those. So if somebody's using that, then it's not just a plan that saves, the person can also see a little savings there also. And then we have what's called Doctors on Demand. It's an online, where they can access a doctor for basic needs. Those visits are less expensive than our copay. So if we have $10 copay on now, our recommendation take it to 0. So if somebody uses that, there'd be no cost to them. The plan would also see savings on that. And then I just want to, touch on one of those. Just want to touch on, I have just an error on here real fast. This where the dental is, that's where I hoped they would go, but they didn't. They didn't go there. So when the plans came in from Delta Dental, they came in almost identical to where they were before, which was $38 for a single, $76 for a +1, and $107 for a family. So we'd leave them the same at those, which is $38, $76, and $107. I had to change those because I was optimistic. I thought we'd see a decrease from Delta last year, but we didn't. I did get changed in time
And these are all effective 10/1.
at 10/1, yeah.
Because our insurance year does not follow a calendar or fiscal year.
10/1, the changes would take place. So it was 21 years of insurance meetings that from administrative side, it was a nice insurance meeting to actually have. Very positive news.
So the recommendation from the insurance committee is that we adopt that for the upcoming school year effective October 1st. So we would need a motion to that effect.
So moved.
All right, Mrs. Schultz has it. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Hanemichael. Further discussions or questions? Hearing none, all in favor of adopting the insurance committee's recommendation, signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Declare that that has passed. All right, Mr. Brooks found another requirement we get to do.
So we got a notice last week, and wasn't quite aware, but I knew if we had an election, we had to put the results within our minutes. But if we don't have elections, there's still a requirement. They have to state that there was no contested vacancy. Petitions turned in were Owen Keith Bundy, Angie Campman, and Tom Farrell. And those positions will seat in July. And so we mostly just do this to state it, and then we put it into our minutes, so there's record.
So we don't need a motion or anything else, it's just,
We had it in the, we just had it in the meeting, now it'll appear in the minutes.
okay. And we have Mr. Bundy with us this evening, so. All right, on to item number 17 then. Consider candidates for the Activities Association Board of Directors.
Would recommend the following for approval to cast a ballot. For the Native American at-large, this is for membership on the Activity Association Board. One of the positions is Native American at-large representative, and that term is July 1, 2019 to June 30th, 2024. Barry Mann of Wapala, and that's the only person on that one, so I need to cash for him, if you're okay with that. West River at-large, again, these are all the same terms. And it was Jordan Bauer from Rapid City Central and Dan Aker from Winter High School. Would recommend that we cast a ballot for Dan Aker. Large school group, Board of Education, again, these all broke down, has to be a certain number of enrollment. I think this one is from 1749 to 561 is their ADM. Randy Hartman of Pier and Mark Murphy of Aberdeen, we would recommend casting the vote for Randy Hartman of Pier.
And their resumes and things were out on that information. So those would be the recommendations. Further discussion regarding those recommendations? If not, then our motion would be the fact that Madison Central School District would select or cast their ballot for Barry Mann and Dan Acker, and then also for Randy Hartman. So that would be the motion. Someone wish to make that motion?
So,
Okay, Mrs. Sims has it.
I'll second.
Okay, Mr. Heinemann. Further questions or discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor of three candidates stated for the Activities Association Board of Directors signify by saying aye.
aye.
Opposed, nay. Declare it is passed. On to item number 18, constitutional amendment.
And this came, I believe, from the ADs as well. It'll need 60% to pass. As we looked at it, it's more of a common sense amendment. Basically, if it's illegal contact in a football game, you can be removed, and you're removed for the next game. So if it happens in the first 2 minutes of the game, you're out that game and the next game, or if it happens in the last 2 minutes. So, but it's saying is if it happens in the first half, you're out the second half and the first half of the next game. So it changes from what could be a 2-game penalty to basically a true 1-game penalty. So to me, and as I talked to Mr. Ricky and at the ADs, we felt it was a common sense move to make it so it was fair from situation to situation.
To me, it makes sense also on that. So we're voting either yes or no. I would assume then that the motion would be that we are in favor of amendment number 1 as proposed by the Activities Association. Does someone wish to make that motion?
So moved.
Okay, Mrs. Schultz, second.
I'll second.
Second by Mrs. Sims. Further questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approval of the constitutional amendment as proposed by the Activities Association, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. All passed then. Band uniform surplus.
And so the new set's on order. It'll be here in the July-August time period before the season. With the old set, there's not a huge market for them, but what the process typically is that we advertise, or the band directors have a listserv between all the band directors in the state, they'll advertise on there, see if any school has interest in them. Some schools will buy them for use, or if they have the same set, they can modify them, or just for pieces. If they don't go through there, then we usually make them available for alumni. Alumni can purchase for like a donation, if they want to keep a hat or something with that. If that, what's ever left, that will part out, take some pieces that we may be able to use, then anything after that, we just dispose of. That's kind of the process we've done. It's been 9 years since we've done this, looking back, but talking with Mrs. Decker, that's typically the process that other schools are using. We're okay with that.
So our action is declare them surplus and basically stamp of approval of what we would do to get rid of those uniforms then. Is there a motion to that effect?
So,
Okay, Mrs. Sims, second. Mr. Hanamichael, further questions, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of considering the band uniforms as surplus and the method described for getting rid of them, disposing whatever of them, signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. All right, now, Mr. Brooks, you want us to do another audit this year, huh?
Every year we do this. Quabbin, Berglund, and Post, a new partner, they sent us there. It's called engagement letter. It just lists the objectives of the audit, the services to provide it, and then the cost, which they list as $10,300. That was $100 above last year's amount. And mostly it's a long letter, but just defines what their scope is gonna be. My recommendation would be to approve Quabbin, Berglund, and Post for our audit for this year once completed.
So that's a recommendation for approval of our audit. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Hanamichael,
second.
second by Mrs. Schultz. Further questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of entering into the audit agreement, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Declare it's passed. Next, we go into executive session for student matters, but Paul, you got any questions of anybody? Chuck, you got any questions?
Yeah,